It's a new day on Tesla Shorts Time Daily, episode 419 for March 29th, 2026. I'm Patrick, coming to you from Vancouver. There's a lot to cover in Tesla land today, from refreshed vehicles finally reaching Canadian driveways to some notable movement inside the autonomous programs and a few bigger picture shifts in the lineup. Let's get into it. Tesla has started delivering the refreshed Model Y performance in RWD in British Columbia after weeks of shifting timelines. The first deliveries of the updated Tesla Model Y lineup officially began in British Columbia yesterday. This comes after several weeks of uncertainty and changing delivery dates that had some customers waiting longer than expected, checking their apps multiple times a day only to see the estimated arrival slide again. Vehicles have now made their way across the country and are reaching owners in multiple provinces, which suggests the logistics team finally got the inventory flowing smoothly after some early snags. From a business perspective, this shows Tesla steadily expanding availability of its highest volume vehicle in important Canadian markets where winter conditions and long distances make the Model Y a natural fit for many families and small businesses. For customers, it means the refreshed versions with their improved features, quieter ride, better range, and those updated interiors are finally becoming a real option here in the region instead of just pictures on a configurator. It feels good to see product updates actually landing with people after the delays, because nothing builds confidence like seeing neighbors actually driving the new ones. These kinds of moments matter because the Model Y remains the backbone of Tesla's sales worldwide, quietly doing the heavy lifting while everyone talks about the flashier future vehicles. It also reminds us how even a mature product like the Model Y still needs careful regional rollout management to keep momentum going in markets outside the US. Now shifting over to some internal movement on the autonomous vehicle side. Tesla's Cybercab program saw the departure of Mark Lupke, who served as manufacturing operations leader in Austin. The exit happened just weeks after the program reached a significant production milestone, which makes the timing feel a bit jarring. According to reports, this adds to the list of notable departures in the autonomous vehicle effort over the past year or so. Retaining specialized manufacturing talent becomes especially critical when scaling toward volume production of unsupervised vehicles, because building something that can operate safely without a driver at scale is an entirely different manufacturing challenge than what Tesla has done before. The timing raises questions about execution risk as Tesla pushes hard on next-generation platforms that need to be lighter, cheaper, and more consistent than anything rolling out of Fremont or Austin today. At the same time, the company has a deep bench and a culture built around first principles that often helps promote from within, which has served them well in previous periods of rapid change. Still, repeated high-level exits in such a key program deserve attention rather than being dismissed. It highlights how challenging it is to keep experienced leaders in fast-moving, high-pressure projects where the public scrutiny and technical complexity are both extreme. These kinds of departures don't necessarily mean the program is in trouble, but they do make you wonder about the hidden friction that might be wearing people down. Speaking of Cybercab, one quiet development caught my eye this week. Speaking of Cybercab, Tesla quietly made a small but significant design change to the robo-taxi. The incremental update carries more weight for real-world readiness than it might first appear at first glance. In an environment where battery breakthroughs and autonomy leaps usually grab the spotlight, this kind of refinement still packs a punch because it shows the team isn't just focused on the glamorous parts of the project. It shows the team continues to iterate on the physical product, even while larger programs advance on the autonomy and regulatory fronts. The adjustment could improve usability or efficiency during daily operation once these vehicles hit the road in meaningful numbers, perhaps making cleaning easier, improving aerodynamics slightly, or making passenger entry and exit smoother. These quiet tweaks often prove valuable when you start scaling unsupervised fleets, because small problems that seem trivial at low volume can become massive headaches when you have thousands of vehicles operating every day. It reflects a disciplined approach to product development that focuses on details before full deployment rather than rushing something out that looks impressive in videos but falls apart in daily service. That focus on getting robotaxi ready for real roads is also showing up in service policies, which got an update this week. Tesla updated its robo-taxi rider policy by lowering the minimum rider age while adding stricter rules for teenagers. The changes form part of ongoing adjustments aimed at making unsupervised autonomy both practical and safe at scale. According to the latest details, the new policy continues a series of refinements to operational details that Tesla has been tweaking behind the scenes. This matters for the technology side because getting the human factors right is just as important as the engineering of the full self-driving system itself. how people behave in the vehicle, how they treat it, and how different age groups interact with it all affect real-world safety and reliability. It demonstrates Tesla actively iterating on how the service will actually work in the real world rather than assuming the software alone will solve every problem. Safety remains the top priority according to recent comments from Tesla executives, and you can see that thinking reflected in these kinds of policy decisions. These policy decisions will shape how comfortable regulators and the public feel with robo-taxis over the coming years, especially in markets that are naturally more cautious about new technology. Getting the balance right for different age groups is a thoughtful step forward, even if it feels a bit restrictive to some. It suggests the company is thinking seriously about the social and regulatory realities of running a driverless service, not just the technical ones. While autonomy developments grab most of the attention these days, Tesla continues tweaking its current lineup in China. While autonomy developments grab most of the attention, Tesla continues tweaking its current lineup in China. The company extended financing incentives for the Model 3, Model Y, and Model Y long range through the end of April. This keeps attractive terms in place to help boost demand in the world's largest EV market, where competition has become fiercer than ever. Intense local competition makes sustaining sales momentum especially important right now, with domestic brands offering compelling vehicles at lower price points and with faster local support networks. For customers, these offers help keep the vehicles more accessible during a key sales period that often sees stronger spring buying activity. From a business standpoint, it shows Tesla remaining competitive through financing rather than just price cuts, which helps protect the perceived value of the brand in a market that has seen heavy discounting across the board. China continues to be a critical market that demands constant attention to demand signals, inventory levels, and competitive moves almost on a weekly basis. Extending these promotions suggests management sees value in supporting volume through the spring rather than letting sales soften while they focus on future products. It also gives us a window into how Tesla is navigating the tension between protecting margins and maintaining market share in its second largest region. On the other end of the lineup, an era is quietly coming to an end for the Model S and Model X. On the other end of the lineup, an era is quietly coming to an end for the Model S and Model X. Tesla confirmed production of both vehicles will wind down in the second quarter of 2026. This follows Elon Musk's description of the decision as an honorable discharge during the Q4 earnings call, which struck a respectful tone for two vehicles that have been with the company since the very beginning. The move allows the company to redirect manufacturing resources toward higher volume models and next-generation vehicles that are expected to drive the next wave of growth. For loyal customers, it marks the end of an era for Tesla's original flagship sedan and SUV, the cars that proved electric vehicles could be luxurious, fast, and desirable to people who previously wouldn't have considered an EV. Those two vehicles helped establish the brand and proved electric cars could be premium products rather than just economy transportation, and many owners developed a real emotional connection to them over the years. Focusing the portfolio makes strategic sense as the company prepares for the next phase of growth and tries to simplify its manufacturing footprint. Still, it will be strange to see the line finally come to a close after all these years, especially for those of us who remember when the Model S felt like science fiction when it first arrived. These flagship cars helped change minds in ways that the more mainstream Model 3 and Y built upon later. Now, one thing worth watching closely involves the repeated leadership changes in the Cybercab program. Losing Mark Lupke as manufacturing operations leader so soon after a major milestone is notable because manufacturing at this scale for unsupervised vehicles requires a very specific combination of skills. Specialized expertise in building new vehicle platforms for autonomy is genuinely hard to replace quickly, especially when the entire approach to production needs to be far more precise than traditional automotive manufacturing. The pattern of departures adds some execution risk to an already ambitious timeline that the company has laid out publicly. That said, Tesla has shown time and again it can promote strong internal talent and attract engineers who thrive in its culture of ownership and speed. The first principles approach often keeps people motivated even during turbulent periods, which has been one of the company's quiet strengths. Still, if the trend continues, it could slow momentum on an important program that many see as central to Tesla's future valuation. These are legitimate challenges worth following honestly as the year progresses, rather than brushing them aside. The autonomous effort is incredibly complex, and talent retention in that environment isn't easy for anyone in the industry right now. Taking a step back from the daily headlines, it is worth applying first principles thinking to heavy electric trucks. Most people assume diesel will always dominate because of superior energy density and the perception that batteries simply can't handle serious work. Yet when you examine real duty cycle data, the picture changes for many applications, especially those with predictable routes and regular downtime. For routes under 500 kilometers with predictable stops, the total cost of ownership already favors electric trucks when you run the numbers properly. You need to include lower maintenance costs and cheaper energy per kilometer delivered to the wheels, along with the fact that electric motors don't require the same level of service as diesel engines. Physics shows batteries store energy at roughly 1/40th the gravimetric density of diesel, which is a real constraint. However, electric drivetrains operate at 85 to 90% efficiency compared to 35 to 45% for diesel engines, which creates a surprisingly large advantage in energy use. That efficiency gap, plus near-zero maintenance on electric motors, shifts the break-even point much sooner than most expect, especially when vehicles are working hard every day. Tesla's approach focuses first on high-utilization regional routes where the physics and economics work today, rather than trying to solve every possible trucking scenario at once. The company can then iterate rapidly using real fleet data from early customers, which is classic Tesla methodology. This avoids waiting for perfect battery breakthroughs before entering the market, which could take many more years. It creates a viable business in a specific niche while battery technology keeps improving for longer routes in the background. The key insight is matching the product to where the numbers make sense right now, rather than chasing every possible use case at the same time. Before we go, keep an eye on further updates from the Cybercab program and any reaction to the Model S and Model X production wind down. That's your Tesla news for today. TSLA closed at $361.83, down $12.37, 3.3%. If you found this useful, a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify really helps new listeners find the show. You can also find us on X at Tesla Shorts Time. I'm Patrick in Vancouver. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you tomorrow. This podcast is curated by Patrick, but generated using AI voice synthesis of my voice using ElevenLabs. The primary reason to do this is I unfortunately don't have the time to be consistent with generating all the content and wanted to focus on creating consistent and regular episodes for all the themes that I enjoy, and I hope others do as well.